Hello again and welcome to another episode of Sunday Story. You're right. We've been looking at the character of David over the last few weeks, and last week was the final episode of his story. But what we're trying to remember as we make our way through the whole Jesus Storybook Bible is that no matter the characters that we meet each week, the Bible is one big story that points us to Jesus. And this week, we're going to look at the story of a little servant girl and the general. I hope you enjoy.
A servant girl and a proud general. Naaman was a very important man in a very important army of a very important country. So you see, he was very, very, very important. But Naaman was sick. He had leprosy, which is a nasty thing that stops you from feeling anything. Bits of you fall off without you noticing, like bashed fingers and squished toes. It might sound funny, but it wasn't, and Naaman certainly wasn't laughing. There was no cure. It never went away, and in the end it killed you. Naaman needed help.
Now there was a little slave girl who worked for Naaman, and she knew someone who could help him. But there was a problem. Naaman was her enemy. Not long before, Naaman had led an army raid on her home in Israel. He had killed her whole family, carried her off to Syria, and made her into his slave. Every night she cried herself to sleep. She had lost everything.
Why would she, of all people, want to help Naaman? Didn't she hate him and want to hurt him back? Didn't she want to make him pay for the wrong that he'd done? That's what you'd expect. But instead of hating him, she loved him. Instead of hurting him back, she forgave him.
I want Naaman to get well, she said to her mistress. There's a man in Israel called Elisha who can heal him. I'll go, said Naaman, loading up his wagons and putting on his flashy armour. But I'll go to the palace because that's where someone important like me gets healed. So he hurried off to Israel and went straight to the king. My healing, please, he announced.
I can do lots of things, the king replied, but only God can heal. Just then, a message from Elisha arrived. Send Naaman here, it read. So Naaman hurried off to Elisha's house. But Elisha didn't even come out and greet him. He just sent a servant instead. Doesn't Elisha realise who I am? Naaman thought.
But what the servant said next made him even more crosser. Wash in there, he said. Just wash? Naaman laughed. In that slimy, stinky river? He looked around to see if it was some kind of joke. It wasn't. Any person can wash in a river, he thought. I am Naaman. I am important. I should do something important so that God will heal me. And he rode off in a rage.
Of course, you and I both know that's not how God does things. All Naaman needed was nothing. It was the one thing Naaman didn't have. God knew that Naaman was even sicker on the inside than he was on the outside. Naaman was proud. He thought he didn't need God. His heart didn't work properly. It couldn't feel anything. You see, Naaman had leprosy of his heart. God was not going to heal Naaman's skin only. He was going to heal Naaman's pride.
Naaman finally agreed to wash in the river, and instantly his skin became smooth like a baby. Naaman wanted to pay Elisha. God healed you, you can't pay, Elisha said. It's free. And so it was that a very sick man was healed, all because of a little servant girl who forgave him.
God knew sin was like leprosy. It stopped his children's hearts from working properly, and in the end it would kill them. Years later, God was going to send another servant to forgive as she did, to forgive all of God's children and to heal the terrible sickness in their hearts. Their hearts were broken, but God can mend broken hearts.
Craft time. This week, why don't you make something that reminds you of today's story? So here's Naaman, all sick and ill with leprosy, and God told him to wash in the river, the dirty, stinky river. So down he goes, all of him in, and then when he comes back up, he's clean. It reminds me of a verse in the Bible that says, "By his wounds we are healed." By Jesus' wounds, dying on the cross, we can be healed and forgiven. So you'll need a plastic cup, a sick Naaman and a healthy Naaman on a stick, and decorate the cup to make it look like a stinky river, which will help remind you that Jesus heals us. Have fun.
Well, that is it for another week in the Storybook Bible. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you're looking forward to your craft. Remember, if you want to send in a picture, as these guys did last week, you can do. Make sure that we get it before Wednesday, and it'll go up on the screen. Now then, we've got a poorly patient in our house, so I think we should go and look after him. Maybe make him some chicken soup. Is that right, Doctor?
Yeah, I'm listening to his heartbeat.
Yes. Okay. Well, I hope you are all feeling okay. God bless. Bye-bye.